Wow. Man down. Errol Spence Jr. finally explains why he chose a person like Danny Swift Garcia as opposed to a light touch or tune-up coming off the car accident. You don't want to miss this. Smash the like button and also subscribe. We working. Yo, what up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, that's $ Boxing Ego, and the Patreon family. We working. Errol Spence Jr., let's get right into it. You guys seen the title? He explains to Sway. Shout out to Sway, radio personality. He's also from the Bay Area, just like me. Yee. And he has an interview with him, and he explains why he opted to go with a guy like Danny Garcia as opposed to a softer touch coming off a horrific car accident. I want you guys to hear what he said. Link in the description, and then I'll finish up with some of my thoughts. So let's get it.
He's going to be ready to kind of take my belt.
Get back to Danny for a second, because that's what we're all waiting to see. We're waiting to see how you're going to respond in the ring. Danny right now, this fight is so important to his career, because if he doesn't walk away victorious, a lot of doors might slam. It might be harder for Danny to get another fight of this magnitude if he ever does again. This isn't an easy fight. Like, you could have picked somebody else in this division. Who else were you guys thinking about before you selected Danny? And then why did you pick Danny?
I wouldn't think about anybody, because basically I was supposed to fight him before the accident, January 17th. And then, the accident happened. And then I was like, I'm gonna still fight Danny Garcia. I don't want no tune-up. So my whole thing was, and nobody argued with me. They didn't say nothing. They was like, all right. I just felt like, Danny Garcia is gonna push me and take me to the next level that I was supposed to be on. And I feel like, fighting a tune-up is gonna keep me stagnant, and it's still gonna be questions, about myself that, especially if I knock him out first round, second round, he's gonna be like, he was supposed to do that. We didn't see him get hit. We didn't see him do nothing, So it's still questions out there. So I feel like, fight a guy like Danny Garcia, he's going to answer all the questions that people have, that I already know, because I already been in sparring and things like that, and I already been hitting, different things like that. So my coach and my dad and them, they already know those answers, but, the public don't know those answers. So, I just feel like Danny Garcia is the best opponent for that, and he's gonna raise my game and keep me focused. Because if I was fighting a Joe Blow, I probably wouldn't. I think I still train as hard, because me coming back from an accident, but I wouldn't train as hard if I was fighting somebody like Danny Garcia. I feel like I'm fighting Danny, and Danny's gonna come with it. But his back against the wall too.
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah,
He's gonna come with it.
Hey, Errol, do you feel like this is the biggest fight of your career right now? Knowing that you're coming back from an accident, people doubting if you can really take a punch, and you're fighting in Texas, your hometown. So do you feel like you have more pressure on you to show and prove that, I'm the real deal, I'm the truth?
This is the second biggest fight of my career. I don't feel like this is the biggest fight of my career. I feel like the Kell Brook fight was the biggest fight of my career. Because
you got the belt.
Yeah, I got the belt. I beat a guy overseas. And that's when I really started making money. So if I lost the Kell Brook fight, it would have been no Danny Garcia fight probably. I wouldn't have made all the money that I made, and, I wouldn't have the accolades that I have, and going overseas and fighting a guy like Kell Brook and beating him in his hometown. So, I just feel like this fight is just important because, this is coming from my accident. And like I said, people have a lot of questions about me. It's still up in the air about me, opposed to strangers and fans and things like that. So I feel like this fight is very important, especially I'm fighting at home in front of my home crowd, family and friends. So I got to put on a great show and a great performance, and come out on top. So I'm especially anxious, to get this victory.
Wow, Errol Spence is a beast. You guys heard it yourself. Listen to it in its entirety. Link in the description. He's basically saying that, in so many words, he liked the challenge. He got in an accident. He's coming off something horrific, and he don't want there to be no excuses. Listen, Errol Spence, at this point, I think it's safe to say for everybody, he's just a throwback fighter. I mean, what else can you say? Errol Spence is definitely a throwback fighter. He's eliminating all the excuses. He basically just said, you guys heard it, he said that if I fought less than a Danny Garcia and didn't jump into the deep end, then there would have people would say, oh, like if it's an Ocampo. That was a fight that I went to, and Carlos Ocampo was a mandatory, and that was when Errol was 100% healthy before the accident, and some people try to denigrate that, right? They said, oh, who was Ocampo, things like that. So Errol knows his stature. He knows he's a unified champion. He knows also what motivates him, which we'll get to in a second. And he just felt that the questions that people have about can he take a punch post-accident, things like that, a lesser opponent wouldn't be able to satisfy those questions. The people, if he fought like another Ocampo type person or lesser than Danny Garcia, he feels people would just make excuses, especially if it was a quick knockout. So, this man's a dog. This is a very good interview. It is fight week. I'm looking forward to this one. December 5th, Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern, Fox pay-per-view. I will be ordering this. We will do the Boxingego watch party. Errol Spence, I haven't finished at the time of recording this video. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I've watched a good percentage of this interview with Sway. And all in all, he just said a lot of good stuff. He basically tells you what I told you before, that he made the Sean Porter fight more difficult than it needed to be. He didn't say he made it harder, but if you listen to what he said, that's basically what he said, which is what I told you. He said his coach had drawn up a different game plan in his team, and he chose to show that he could beat Sean Porter at his own game, and he did that. So, in essence, making the fight harder than it needed to be. He identifies the fact that he could have just boxed, but he said he wanted to show that different wrinkle. And Sean Porter was saying that Errol has never been in a dogfight, so he's like, all right, I got you. And he gave it to him his way, Burger King. As far as the tune-up, December 5th, not much longer. Some people say, oh, you should have took a tune-up. He's in great shape. You guys see it right there. He's in great shape. Listen, I told you this is a very sensitive subject, and we as fans and me as boxing media and stuff, I can't tell you what the experience was like because that's not my experience. I didn't flip in that car and sports car at that, accelerated speed and stuff like that. So whatever Errol says, I'm just rocking with that. If he says he's good, his team says he's good, just like Danny Garcia's team pretty much said the same thing, then he's good. December 5th, we're going to find out either way. If they're hiding something and he's not really good, I mean, that square circle is the ultimate truth serum. It's the ultimate polygraph. So no matter what, that's the truth seeker and the truth speaker once you get in between them ropes. So he looks great. He looks and sounds, if we're just judging by what is in front of us, I haven't seen his sparring, so I can't judge how he's looking or how he's responding to shots or his reaction time, but he looks focused. He looks like this wreck quite possibly made him into a monster because it made him hungry. It made him have that grit again and that rumble in his tummy, because he also says in this interview that basically as he got more money, more fame, he said he still kept his circle small, but he had friends and stuff. And then he slowly started distancing himself from staying in the gym. And it went from 1 week to 2 weeks to a month to I'm not back in the gym unless I'm training, unless, they call me and say your fight's up. You got a fight coming up. So he lacked discipline, maybe got complacent, maybe felt on top of the world. He also said in this and other interviews that he felt invincible. Very good interview. He also, one thing that's very important, especially for a guy like Terrence Crawford, who says he wants to fight Errol Spence and maybe he is a free agent October of next year. He talked about part of his decision to sign with Al Heyman. He said his dad urged him to. He said he was 21, 22 years old and he wasn't thinking about the big picture and long term. And now he respects his dad and respects with Al Heyman, because he said when Al Heyman was trying to sign him, he was worried about, hey, let's think about your retirement. When you plan on retiring? Let's get you some savings, pension, stuff like that. And he said he a 21, 22-year-old kid trying to fight. And he said he wasn't like, man, I just signed with Al Heyman really because my pops told me to. But I wasn't worried about that. But now I see. He said, now I see exactly what the game plan was. He also said the accident was a wake-up call, and it makes you appreciate your family, your mom, your pops. You want to spend as much time that you can with them. For him, he has a newborn and also 2 beautiful daughters. And he said this, was a wake-up call to spend more time with your loved ones and start planning for unforeseen emergencies, or if you end up checking out, just having a game plan so the people you leave behind aren't stranded. He said, because I'm a breadwinner, so you have to just think in terms of stuff like that. I'm the breadwinner, and me making income. It just sounds like he's level-headed, man. You got to listen to the interview. Shout out to Sway. Shout out to Horse. Bridge Business, Bay Area. I like Sway a lot. Met him. We both rep the Bay Area, California. The Wake Up Show is hard, too, with the 5 Fingers of Death and whatnot. True hip-hop head. It's good seeing Errol. Errol looked clean cut. He just looks like the old Errol. You see he cut his hair low. I think he said he's growing it back out, but at the moment, it looks like he's going back to the old Errol. The shape he's in, he looks disciplined. He looks like the Leonard Bundu, Algieri Errol. And he also talks about how he couldn't get certain fights with guys when he was on his way up. He said guys, they kept giving him tasks and saying, hey, do this, do that. You can't get to fight with me unless you get a belt. You can't get a fight with me unless you beat this guy or get some names on your resume. And he said now he got that. So now the tables have turned. Now they want to fight me. They have no choice to fight me. So all is well. December 5th, we'll see. We'll see what it is. Danny Garcia is no slouch. Sway interviewed Danny Garcia and his pops, Angel Garcia, recently too. So check that out as well. December 5th, man, is going down. But I was curious to see why Errol Spence chose no tune-up. And he's a throwback fighter in the same cloth as Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard, he went straight into the Roberto Duran rematch after he lost. Errol ain't lost in the ring, but he took an L outside of the ring. And I guess he has that same spirit, that Marvin Hagler-ish, that Sugar Ray Leonard-ish, that Floyd May-ish. He's built different. So he said he don't want there to be no excuses. People are going to still have questions if he would have took a light touch. So he said, we gonna give them what they want. And he said also, fighting Danny Garcia, that's motivation for me. Because if I would have fought a lesser person, he said I would have trained hard like I always do, but not like this. I know Danny Garcia. I know what he's about. I know his pedigree. Basically, I know his resume. So I know what I'm up against. So I need that. So some people, they just got to find different creative ways to stay motivated, because Errol Spence kind of lost his way at the peak of it all after he beat Sean Porter, almost lost his life, not in addition to losing his way. And then now it sounds like he's, he just sounds mature, like he's reeling that all back in. And Danny Garcia, he said that's who I was going to fight before the pandemic, before the accident. So we just stuck with that. He said nobody fought me on it. We stuck with that. Some people have to find those different ways to motivate themselves and bring the best out of them. Some people have to be challenged. Maybe this was Errol's come to Jesus moment and his wake up call to see his purpose. You know, I'm not saying that he didn't know, but we're human. We make errors, we make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Sometimes we lose our way. But December 5th is Judgment Day. Let me know how I did in this video. ESPN Plus, use my link in the description. It does help the channel continue to grow in a phenomenal way when you guys click on that link. ESPN Plus, they offer a ton of content, docuseries, documentaries, archive footage, and more for your viewing pleasure. They also have archive fights like Mayweather and Pacquiao, Teofimo Lopez versus Lomachenko, which recently happened. ESPN Plus, that's $5.99 a month. Or if you want more content, you can get ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all three of those apps for one low price, $12.99 for the bundle by clicking my link. And it does help the channel continue to grow, you know, upgrade the technology and gear so I can put out more content like this, make sure the audio is crisp, the video is crisp. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Can't wait for December 5th, Spence Jr. versus Garcia, unified World Welterweight Championship on Fox, courtesy of PBC. It will be on pay-per-view. Please order the pay-per-view if you're a diehard boxing fan. You know, ultimately, when you guys support and don't just do illegal streams and all that for the great fights like this, that's how we ensure that we continue to get great fights. You know, boxing fans, they complain when the fights are ass, but then when there's a great fight and you know it's a great fight, then they try to get it for free. You know, some people. UFC, you see like the big stars, especially like the Conor McGregor, he does over $1 million when he fights. You know, you got to support, come up out that pocket, save your ducats, babysit, wash some cars, mow some lawns, you know, but we got to support real boxing. We got to support great fights like this. And for me, I'm going to support black-owned business. I'm going to support black excellence, and I'm going to support what Errol Spence is doing. This man is risking it all, fighting at home. He just flew out of a car and got in an accident, and he's taking on a sturdy Danny Garcia like nobody's business. And he's doing everything that he can to show people that he's the same fighter. Like, I support that, bro. He's a hog. He's a straight savage. Just to even risk it, you know, that's an insane belief. They were saying in this interview that he says some athletes, they get up for those moments. He said Michael Jordan, Kobe's, LeBron's, the Tom Brady's of the world. And he said he believes he's that in boxing. He knows how to rise to the occasion. Obviously, Floyd Mayweather in boxing, you know. So I'm going to support. I'm going to always support what's right. And I'm going to always support people who, like I said, people make mistakes. That's cool. That's okay. But I'm going to support people who also rebound. I know, you know, I have friends from all walks of life. I have people who never been in trouble, never been to prison, never been to jail. I know people that have been to prison, been to jail, and came out and corrected their whole life and own businesses and stuff like that. So, you know, people make different mistakes and it comes in many forms. I'm not going to overly judge one man's bad choice. I mean, imagine if I was in my 20s with millions of dollars. I don't know, especially when I was 21. I don't know if there was a camera at me at all times. You know, you might be reading some bad things about me. Who knows? So, Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, excellent fight. Make sure you guys support once again. Also support my channel. Hit the subscribe button. Let me know who you're picking. Do you think Errol Spence should have taken a tune-up, or do you think he's ready and refocused, recalibrated, and motivated? Drop all that in the comment section. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off. If you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.